video is going to introduce you or reinforce the idea of creating multiple files to manage or begin to manage large programming projects. Here in front of you, I have a program I've begun to type in. It has a function at the top here with two parameters. First parameter is called A, the second one is called B, and notice it simply says take the first parameter and add it to the second parameter. When you get that value, return it. Where am I using it? Down here in the main program. I'm simply going to use this. It is a tool, and I'm using it to add some numbers together. I'll ask the person or a computer, somehow I'm saying enter two numbers, and I have a variable P and a variable Q. I say whatever you get from standard input, extract it and put it into variable P. Whatever comes after P, take the next integer, put it in Q. Then you make a copy of P and Q, give it to the function add. So A becomes a copy of P, and B becomes a copy of Q. So a copy of P and Q are added, and a value is returned. That number is then copied over into sum, and we print out the contents of sum. Compile and run this program. Notice my print's a little small, so I can right click on this corner, go to properties, font layout, maybe like 28. Now I have a much larger screen. Sorry about jumping around like that. Enter two numbers, 3 and 4. Total is 7. That looks nice. Now I like this program so much, I like to do subtraction. So I'm going to add another function. I'll call it sub. It's a nice name for subtraction. And I'll change it internally. Now, what's going to happen is, as I add functions up here, this program here is going to turn into some sort of monolithic creature. It's just going to get larger and larger, like a giant rock of confusion. So what I'd like to do is keep this program small and organize my thoughts. And I say these functions here do adding. So what I'm going to do is create another file. File, empty file. Do I want to add this new file in the active project? Yeah. Say yes. What am I going to call it? There's my main program. I'll just delete that. It's just left over. And I'll call it basic math tools.cpp. It's going to be my program. Do I want to include it in my compiling work? Yes. So release and debug versions. So here's my basics. I'm going to cut this code out and plop it in my basic math tools. This is kind of small, so what I'm going to do is increase its size. Go to the editor. Choose to do this the longer way, 18. A little bigger. Now, if I go back to main and I compile this program, the system, the compiler, gets to this line and it's complaining. And if we look down here at the message, the log, add was not declared in the scope. It's trying to say it has no idea what add is. It's never seen it before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I know what it looks like. It's int add integer followed by an integer. That's it. I'm telling the compiler this is the pattern. Integer add integer integer. Notice sum is an integer, so it's returning integer, add, P is an integer, and Q is an integer. This pattern is satisfied. I compile the program. There are no complaints. The compiler then is finished. It compiles both of these programs and joins them together it'll draw a linker. So if I enter 3 and 4, I get the answer 7. Now, I don't really like doing this because now I have to come back into main, make a copy of this thing, Control C, come back, paste that in, semicolon. So if I use every function that is in basic math has to appear here. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is create another file. Empty file. Do I want to include it in my project? Yes. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it basic math tools, but I'm going to end it with an H for header. Save it. Use it as part of my project. Yes. And now Control X, go to basic math tools, plop them both in, save it, go back here. Now tell the compiler, when you get here, include quote basic math tools.h. Notice, since this is my own header file, I use double quotes. The system uses an angled bracket. Now I compile this and run it. 11. Notice the beauty of this is that the main program is small. I now have two other programs. I have my code program, my implementation. Here's my implementation file. That's my .cpp. Tells me how everything is done. And this file contains any definitions and prototypes. And that is the basics of a multi-filed project. So again, there are three files. There's your main that you're working with, and then there's your file of tools. And the tool file needs prototypes. It may need its own header files too. It might need an include.h. If you need to put that in, this is what a lot of people will do. They'll put that in right here and turn around, and in tools it'll put its own prototype in. It doesn't harm the compiler to see these things beforehand. And there'll be a trick I'll show you later on to avoid infinite loops of includes that loop back into includes. Alright. Practice doing this. I highly recommend it.